From Neural Newscast, this is Stereo Current, sound, culture, and the systems that shape them.
Stereo.
Welcome to Stereo Current, your daily briefing on indie intelligence and the textured edges of music culture. I am Sloan Rivera.
And I'm Julian Vance. We're coming to you on June 14th, 2026, dropping the needle on the stories that actually matter in the scene, from the downtown critics to the analog purists.
Today's energy is distinctly north of the border. We're looking at the launch of S-Pin Canada, which is making a massive splash at NXNE today. It's a moment that feels like a vital recalibration of what we consider mainstream indie.
Exactly, Sloan. And the face of that recalibration is Nemahsis. She's headlining the magazine's launch at the W Hotel's soundstage in Toronto today, and the timing couldn't be more poignant.
It's fascinating how Michael Hollett's cover story frames her. Nemahsis, born Nema Hassan, is this Palestinian-Canadian artist who spent years as an other in Ontario. She talks about how she used to write for herself, a me problem, but now she writes for we.
That shift is where the magic happens. She's won Junos, she's got Elton John and Stevie Wonder in her DMs, but she's still playing smart with her identity, wearing the hijab, the hood, the turban as a survival mechanism in rooms that aren't always welcoming.
I loved the detail about her childhood protest of wearing the hijab to school despite her parents' fears. It gives her music this undercurrent of defiance. Her song, What If I Took It Off For You, isn't just about the scarf. It's about the visibility of the soul. Julian, did you catch the part about her being dropped by her label on October 7th?
I did. It's a brutal reminder that the industry can be as fickle as a warped 75. But her manager stuck by her, and she's out here selling out the Danforth and headlining festivals. She's a hooded villain with a smile that disarms everyone. It's stylish, political, and entirely necessary.
She's the gateway for a whole generation of Muslim women who never saw themselves at a concert before. That is the kind of scene news that gives me hope, even if she claims to have none for humanity.
While we're talking about massive cultural footprints, we have to talk about the old guard making new moves. Jack White just unthawed his 7th solo LP.
Frozen Charlotte. It's an evocative title. And the lead single, Dollar Bill, has that classic third man swagger. Julian, it feels like Jack is leaning back into that tight live band energy he's perfected with Patrick Keeler and Dominic Davis.
He's a master of the rollout, too. He was embedding snippets of the album in this new Third Man Release Lab series before the announcement. And for the collectors, we're getting Zug Island Blue and Ice Blue vinyl variants. It's very on brand for his analog obsession.
He's hitting the road in July, starting at the Anthem in D.C. But he's not the only New York legend making noise. The Strokes finally filled the hole in their tour schedule.
The October 2nd show at Flushing Meadows Corona Park. This isn't just a gig, it's a local festival. They've got Beach House and Fuckers, but the real headline for me is the reunion of TV on the radio.
That is massive. We haven't seen TV on the radio in this capacity for ages. It almost overshadows the fact that the Strokes' new album, Reality Awaits, got pushed back to July 24th.
A delay is never great, but if it means the mix is right, I'll wait. The Queen's show feels like a victory lap for the New York art rock scene that defined the early 2000s. It's nostalgia, but with enough new blood like Fuckers to keep it from feeling like a museum piece.
Let's pivot to something a bit more visceral. Paul Robert Thomas released his 53rd album earlier this week. It's titled Some Folk, and it is anything but gentle.
53 albums is a staggering output, but Some Folk feels like it's coming from a place of deep, singular purpose. He's taking on gentrification in Camden Town, 60s Child, and the Holocaust in The Band Plays On.
The way he dismantles 60s nostalgia is surgical. He's looking at hippies in designer shoes and a ghetto for the rich with a downtown critic's eye. It's the kind of folk that shakes you because it refuses to be charming.
And then you have He Hurt My Baby, which ends the album on this note of raw, unrelenting vengeance. It's gothic, it's heavy, and it's deeply human. It's a reminder that folk music, when done right, is the original protest punk.
Speaking of protest, Redshift released a video for The Clown on June 10th. It's the standout from their album Down the Wire, and it's a brilliant satire of our digital obedience.
I love the concept. They're using this clown-filled world to critique how we perform our lives for the algorithm. Prog-metal with a sense of humor, which is a rare find. They've got Derek Sherinian on the album, so the technical chops are undeniable.
The story follows a protagonist in a world where AI art is propaganda. Liam Fear's vocals really capture that frustration of watching humanity dance on command. It's a dense, challenging listen that feels very now.
It's that friction between technology and soul, which leads us nicely into something more atmospheric. Steps from the Cliff just dropped Dead Air Romance.
This Santa Cruz duo is making some of the most haunting darkwave I've heard recently. The track was born out of those violent California storms in early 2023, and you can hear that coastal unrest in the production.
It sounds like a monochrome specter. It's got this industrial edge, but smoothed over with these non-lexical harmonies. It's very Clive Barker. Temptation and friction. Tim Knapp really captured that border between peril and possibility.
It feels like a spiritual successor to the kind of risks Flying Nun Records has been taking for 45 years. Far Out magazine just did a retrospective on their legacy, and it's a masterclass in independent spirit.
New Zealand's indie haven. You can't talk about DIY culture without mentioning the clean or the 3Ds. Their 1986 compilation essentially defined the lo-fi slack rock sound that Pavement and the Pixies would later turn into a global movement.
And they're still vital. Aldous Harding's Warm, Crisis from 2022 was cited as their modern masterpiece. It's that constant evolution, from post-punk like the Gordons to psychedelic pop, that keeps Flying Nun from just being a footnote.
They've remained entirely independent, which is a miracle in 2026. It's a reminder that the scene doesn't need a corporate handshake to have a global impact.
Whether it's the legacy of the South Island or the grit of a Queen's Park, the common thread is that refusal to conform.
And that is where we leave it today. A lot to digest, from Jack White's Blue Vinyl to Nemahsis' Hooded Revolution.
Keep your ears open and your takes sharp. All right, it is time to build your queue for the days ahead. We have 10 essential listens for your week. Kicking us off at number 1 is Nemahsis with Stick of Gum. It is a beautiful piece of art pop that really captures that intimate outsider experience. Next up is Jack White with No Name. This one is a total return to that raw, high-voltage garage rock energy we have been craving. And in anticipation of their massive homecoming show in Queens, we have to include The Strokes and The Adults Are Talking. It remains the definitive sound of their modern era. Sticking with that New York energy, we are also spinning Wolf Like Me by TV on the Radio as they prepare for a rare reunion set at Flushing Meadows. For something a bit more stripped back, Paul Robert Thomas gives us Some Folk. It is a soulful track that really tackles the complexities of gentrification. We are also celebrating the 45th anniversary of Flying Nun Records this week with 2 classics. First, the haunting Pink Frost by The Chills. And we are pairing that with Anything Could Happen by The Clean. It perfectly captures that DIY post-punk spirit the label is known for. Switching gears to something darker, check out Cycles by Steps from the Cliff. It is a primal slice of darkwave coming straight out of the Santa Cruz scene. At number 9, we have Redshift with Cataclysm. This is technical prog metal with a sharp, satirical look at our modern digital culture. Finally, we have Starburster by Fontaines DC. It is an absolute staple right now, bridging art rock intensity with a modern indie pop feel. And with that stack on your queue, you're set for the week. I'm Julian Vance. Visit stereocurrent.neuralnewscast.com for more. This has been Stereo Current. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Stereo Current on Neural Newscast. Sound, culture, and the systems that shape them.